Honorables and esteemed guests, my name is Nakia Dramani Sound. I'm 11 and I'm from Ghana, and I'm also the Climate Vulnerable Forum Ambassador for Youth. The CVF consists of 58 developing countries that are particularly vulnerable to the devastating effects of climate change. Together, we represent 1.5 billion people whose lives and well-being are at stake. I am honored to be speaking before you all during this parliamentarians' dialogue at the 2023 Africa Climate Summit. I want to talk about how we really need fast and effective ways to deal with climate change. Honorables and esteemed guests, you all have a big part to play in making this happen. African countries are facing unprecedented challenges, from flooding and rising seas in West Africa to land becoming dry and desert-like in North Africa, hotter temperatures and changing rainfall patterns in East Africa, to water scarcity and droughts in Southern Africa. It might feel like these problems are too big for us to fix, but I urge you to think of them as calls for help we need to answer. We have the chance to make things better, to come up with new ideas, and show that we can be leaders who make history. Our climate vulnerable countries are leading the call for fairness in climate action with the upcoming launch of our Fair Share Now campaign. Now, what does fair share mean? Imagine we all are on one team to save Mother Earth. We all have responsibilities to protect the planet. But some of us have more resources and can do more. And you know what's fair? If a country polluted more in the past, they should step up and do more to tackle it. But guess what? Their current climate promises aren't fair. And that is not right, especially for countries like mine. Let me give you some facts. The G7, with a population of only 800 million people, are responsible for 25% of current emissions. That is making the planet really, really hot. More than 3 degrees Celsius. This is making the planet really, really hot. More than 3 degrees Celsius hotter. On the other hand, the CVF, with approximately 1.5 billion people, almost double the population of the G7, only make up 5% of global emissions, but are fully and fairly on track to meet the 1.5 degrees Celsius target of the Paris Agreement. Job way! We need to tell the rich polluters to stop climate cheating by ignoring the differences between countries when setting targets in terms of how much effort should be made, even though some countries have historically produced more emissions than others and continue to do so. They are ultimately cheating countries like mine. We are already experiencing the effects of climate change, despite being less responsible for emissions than many other countries. Unless these rich countries alter their climate targets to do their fair share, the 1.5 degrees Celsius limits set out in the Paris Agreement could be breached by 2030. Climate change doesn't care about borders. It doesn't matter where someone comes from or who they are. Everyone must do their fair share now to solve the climate crisis. I urge you all to develop policies to help the most vulnerable among us, making sure that no one is left behind in our pursuit of a livable planet. The world should listen to young people. It is our future that is at stake. We need governments to make greater efforts to ensure we have a future. Honorables and esteemed guests, you play a critical role in implementing policies that will stop these climate crises. So let us come together, raise our voices and ambitions, and drive Africa towards a fair, sustainable, and green future. Thank you. Medahon Ase.